Years after the main characters moved on from that iconic New York City apartment, a friend's fan theory about Phoebe Buffay, Lisa Kudrow, is logical and compelling. There are many theories about the whole friend group, but the ones about Phoebe are perhaps the most thought-provoking since she's such a perplexing, strange, and fascinating character. While the others have fairly straightforward arcs and storylines, from Ross Geller's, David Schwimmer, and Rachel Green's, Jennifer Aniston, ongoing love story to Monica Geller's, Courtney Cox, career progression, Phoebe is always mysterious. We still want to know why she thinks and acts the way she does, even today. This fan theory suggests Phoebe is a CIA spy. One Redditor shared the fan theory that Phoebe works for the CIA. They wrote, "Phoebe is a CIA spy." There are a long list of clues hinting at this. According to this fan, she could definitely be a spy because she claims she isn't sure how old she is, says she can't get a passport, was in jail, and has a background with a big rap sheet. Phoebe also has a few aliases, so if this theory were true, then she would need to go by different names in order to keep her identity a secret. The fan also pointed out that she says she learned missile training and that working as a massage therapist in a part-time capacity wouldn't earn her enough money to survive in NYC. Although it's definitely pretty wild to imagine her being a CIA spy, Phoebe does keep a lot of things hidden from even her closest friends, and it's hard to say that you truly understand her by the Friends series finale. How this fan theory would explain Phoebe's quirky personality. If Phoebe were a CIA spy, then her behavior throughout all 10 seasons of Friends would make more sense. Rather than being the odd one out who makes random comments that her friends don't understand, this fan theory makes her seem more intelligent, capable, and in control of her life. Since we all love Phoebe and think she's smarter than she gets credit for, it's nice to think that she has a big, exciting life story. Now, instead of wondering why she makes strange comments like having been through missile training or not having a passport, we can imagine that she has an entire secret career we never knew about. This fan theory could even explain one of the most memorable parts of Phoebe's character arc, her twin sister Ursula. Maybe we think she's hilarious, or we find their distant relationship upsetting. But either way, maybe Phoebe was recruited into the CIA because the fact that she has a twin would throw off enemies and create necessary confusion. Phoebe's sometimes ditzy and whimsical personality is often a big contrast to her sad past. She was unhoused and lost her parents, and didn't have the love, safety, and family bonds that everyone deserves. It would make sense that she would be drawn to the life of a spy since it would involve travel, adventure, and excitement. Even Phoebe's love life might become more logical rather than just quirky when viewed through the lens of this fan theory. She's never great at decision-making and more flaky than reliable and practical, and when Phoebe chooses between Mike, Paul Rudd, and David, Hank Azaria, she's confused and unsure. But, instead of thinking it's a typical TV love triangle, we can wonder if she took her secret spy activities into account. Maybe she thought David, who's more of an intellectual since he's a scientist, would have figured her out sooner and thought that she could keep her job hidden from Mike. There's an even funnier explanation for Phoebe's behavior. Even though this fan theory is intriguing, there's a more hilarious way to view Phoebe's actions. She's totally in control. Maybe Phoebe is aware that she's silly, confusing, and offbeat, and she can tell that friends think she's odd. But she doesn't care what they think about her and is acting strangely on purpose and playing a game. Maybe Phoebe really has a passport and never did missile training, and she thinks it's fun that her friends don't understand her or know much about her life. Or perhaps those things are really true. But no matter what we think about those elements of Phoebe's arc, it makes sense that she would want to play around with her friends. Of the 6 main characters, Phoebe has the goofiest and most childlike personality, and she searches for joy in the small things in life. She loves making music, even though everyone else around her agrees that "Smelly Cat" is an awkward tune, and she is usually in a good mood. It's perfectly logical that Phoebe would want to inject some fun into her friendships and make them constantly guess if she's telling the truth or hiding a secret identity. No matter how cool it is to think that Phoebe could be a CIA spy, the idea that she's just joking around with her pals is actually more endearing. It lets us know that she's as clever as we always suspected, and also makes watching every episode of Friends again more enjoyable since now we can view the entire sitcom through this lens.